Have you ever had one of those months where, on paper, you should be doing fine? Like, you make decent money. You're not reckless, you don't buy Lamborghinis, but somehow your bank account still looks like it's being haunted. You invest a little, you pay your bills, you try to be responsible, and yet every time something small happens, a car repair, a medical bill, a flight you have to book, your entire financial life collapses. And you're sitting there thinking, why does this feel so hard when I'm doing all the right things? If that's you, yeah, that's not because you're bad with money. It's because you're building wealth in the wrong order. And almost everyone does. My name is Obeens, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money actually works in real life. And if you're someone who saves money, invests a little, still feels behind, and constantly wonders why progress feels so slow, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, we're talking about the correct order to build wealth, and why doing even one step out of order can quietly keep you broke for decades. Here's the thing. Most people don't fail because they don't work hard. They fail because they're climbing the ladder from the middle.
The big lie about building wealth. Look, we're taught that building wealth is about doing everything at once. Save, invest, pay debt, build credit, plan retirement, all simultaneously, which sounds mature, but in reality, it's chaos. Because money isn't just math, it's sequence, and sequence matters more than effort. Here's what most people don't realize. Doing the right thing at the wrong time can still destroy your progress. That's why you'll see people investing every month while carrying high-interest debt, or maxing out a 401k while living one emergency away from disaster, or chasing passive income while their financial foundation is made of cardboard. And the system doesn't help. Banks, apps, and influencers all push you to invest early, but they rarely explain what must come first. This is where it gets really interesting, because when you look at real data, the pattern becomes obvious. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 60% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency with cash. Yet at the same time, millions of those same people are investing in the stock market. Think about that. That's like building a second floor on a house before pouring the foundation. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but investing early is still good, right? Compound interest and all that? Yes, but only after the basics are secured. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Compound interest doesn't work when your money keeps getting pulled back out. Let's walk through real numbers. Say you invest $300 a month. That's responsible, that's disciplined. But you don't have an emergency fund. So when life happens, and it always does, you pull that money out. Now you're not compounding, you're recycling. And every time you withdraw, you often pay taxes, penalties, and opportunity cost. Psychologically, that does damage, because now investing feels pointless. You start thinking, what's the point if I keep needing the money anyway? And that mindset is how people quit entirely, not because investing doesn't work, but because it was started too early.
So let's talk about the actual order. Not the exciting one, the effective one. Step 1. Stabilize your cash flow. Before you invest a single dollar, you need control. That means you know where your money goes, your expenses are lower than your income, and you're not relying on credit to survive. This isn't budgeting perfection. This is survival margin, because wealth can't grow in chaos. If every month feels unpredictable, your brain stays in fight or flight. And humans don't make long-term decisions in fight or flight. They make emotional ones. Here's what most people don't realize. Money stress literally reduces cognitive bandwidth. Studies from Princeton show that money stress can lower effective IQ by up to 13 points. That's not stupidity, that's biology. So step 1 isn't investing, it's removing constant panic.
Step 2. Build a small emergency buffer. Not 6 months, not 12 months. Start with $1,000 to $2,000, enough to stop emergencies from becoming disasters. Because emergencies aren't expensive, being unprepared is. This buffer does something powerful psychologically. It tells your brain, we're safe. And once your brain feels safe, you stop making desperate decisions. You stop using credit cards for groceries. You stop panicking when something breaks. You stop sabotaging progress. This is where life starts feeling different. Not richer, just calmer.
Step 3. Eliminate high-interest debt. This is where people get emotional, because debt feels normal. But mathematically, high-interest debt is a guaranteed loss. If your credit card charges 22% interest, paying it off is the same as earning a risk-free 22% return. There is no legal investment that guarantees that. None. So when someone says, I invest instead of paying debt because the market averages 10%, they're choosing a probable gain over a guaranteed loss. That's backwards. And psychologically, debt keeps you small, because debt demands minimum payments. Minimum payments steal future freedom. Step 4. Expand your emergency fund. Once toxic debt is gone, now you scale safety. This is where the classic 3 to 6 months of expenses comes in, not because it's exciting, but because it gives you leverage. With a real emergency fund, you can leave bad jobs, negotiate better pay, take smarter risks. Wealth isn't built by returns. It's built by options, and options come from liquidity. Step 5. Invest consistently and boringly. Now, and only now, does investing explode in effectiveness, because you don't need the money. You don't panic. You don't sell at the bottom. You don't touch it. This is where compound interest finally works, because compounding requires time uninterrupted. According to Vanguard, investors who attempt to time the market underperform simple index investors by roughly 2% per year. That gap doesn't sound big until you stretch it over 30 years. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars lost to emotions.
Step 6. Optimize, not before. Only after all of this do things like tax optimization, advanced investing, side businesses, real estate actually matter. Most people obsess over optimization before stability. That's like tuning a race car with no engine. Why most people do this backwards? Because the internet rewards excitement, not order. No one goes viral saying, build an emergency fund, but that's what actually changes lives. Also, pain avoidance. Paying debt feels like losing. Saving feels boring. Investing feels productive. So people skip the uncomfortable steps. And those uncomfortable steps are exactly what create wealth. The real shift. Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth isn't built by doing more. It's built by doing things in the right order. Once the order is correct, everything gets easier. Progress becomes visible. Money stops leaking, and momentum finally appears. If you feel behind, you're probably not irresponsible. You're probably just early in the sequence. And once you fix the order, wealth stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling inevitable. If this helped you see money differently, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And subscribe if you want practical, honest conversations about money without hype or guilt. I'll see you in the next one.